You shared quite a bit about your successes. Um, can you share who'd like to share a challenge that they've experienced as being a entrant into the family business and how you navigated it?
We spoke to navigating ambiguity, and I think that was definitely a challenge. But I think the other part is um, the piece related to like personal identity. And I think when you're in a family business, people take their work very personal. They really tie themselves into it, particularly if you're in a founder-led business. That founder, it is their entire life's work is this business, and they may treat the business as another child, just as you are. And I think navigating that, you know, I guess maybe like the separation, the like a enmeshment that has been created between the founder and the business, and still making that previous generation feel needed, feeling wanted, feeling like we care for them, but separating that from their day-to-day needs in the business. I think there's a lot of confusion that happens with just because you're not doing the thing every single day doesn't mean that you're still not valued in the business. And that's a thing that we're challenged with in our business right now. I wonder how it is for you, Matt.
Yeah, it's it's always a challenge. I guess that's the, you know, there with the family side, there are challenges that are just never going to really go away. You're kind of always kind of keeping different things at bay and always working on them. When I think of a specific challenge I faced, I mentioned as I joined, there really wasn't a playbook for me to work off of, and I remember specifically joining a couple meetings and probably being a little too casual with my father in those meetings. Recognizing that later, recognizing, well, he's a CEO, and so uh, very specifically, I gave a presentation and referred to him as dad a couple times. And I remember someone coming up to me afterwards and saying, look, if you really want to build your own path here and become Matt the leader, it's probably better for you to call him Dave, just like all of the rest of us. And so that was a big aha for me. And one of the big things that's always helped me so much in a family business, and Jamie's heard this 1,000 times, is this concept of hats. And so, as you grow in a family business, whether you have, spent a lot of time going and learning about um, different ways family businesses are run or whatnot, there's this concept that comes up sometimes of, you're wearing a lot of hats. And so I've embraced that so much that I'll often be in conversations and actually pretend to put on a hat or take off a hat depending on the different roles that I might face. And so as I walk into the door and I close the door to talk to my dad, I might put on the son hat. Hey, what are we doing this weekend? Or hey, um, you know, this is a family thing that we want to talk about. And I might go into a different meeting and it's a staff meeting and I'll put on my employee hat. And then I've had, conversations with family members and I'll put on my brother hat and give advice about, hey, I think you should do this. And I'll take that off and I'll put on my president of SEP hat and say, if you do that, please give me a lengthy time so we can react as a business and we can manage. And so that concept of trying to manage all the different roles and be distinct about which one you're operating in, for me, has really helped navigate a lot of these confusing areas. And it's helped me share to somebody where I'm coming from. So I'm not, having a conversation kind of in a family way, but someone sees it from a business perspective.
Jamie, how have you managed that dynamic, right? The ability to engage as a daughter and engage as a colleague and leader.
It's really tough because I think I love Matt's idea of being different people at different times, but it's also hard to separate who you are. You are still all those people all at the same time. I don't think I've necessarily managed. I don't think I've necessarily managed it well. I think I've just kind of shown up as who I am, and um, I don't know. I think maybe the bigger thing is making sure I understand what the other party needs. Like when I'm in a particular situation, are they looking at me like I'm the daughter or the employee, and are they bringing certain biases to that conversation? And then how do I kind of just put it all out on the table so that we're transparent about everything? Because I recognize that these aren't like cut and dry situations or solutions. These are actually very complicated relationships that are dealing with complicated issues. So I try to be as transparent as possible and try to call out the biases if there are any.
I think you hit on the importance of authenticity there, right? So being your authentic self and being able to call out those situations, and this is awkward because this.
Right.
So let's just
Right.
talk about this. That can be really helpful.
And I think it goes a long way with employees, actually, more than anything. I think employees can feel very uncomfortable telling you something about your parents that they may not like. And the more that you can show up as you yourself, and have as open of a view as it is as possible, allows them to have a stronger relationship with you. And I think sometimes prior generations are expecting their next generations to be their puppets. And I think that undermines both generations, and really lose a lot of credibility in the eyes of the employees or other stakeholders.
Perfect. One of the questions that we see is around, have there been formal structures or formal efforts in your families to support this